Today we're going to be going over one of my favorite and probably one of my most controversial mouse out there, the Glorious Model O. There's a lot of pros to this, which is why I haven't let it go yet, but at the same time, there's a lot of cons you all need to be aware of. But without further ado, let's go ahead and find out, is this one of the best gaming mice out there? Or is it a bust? Currently, you can pick up this mouse for about $80. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in checking that out. Very good price point for a mouse that feels so high end. These are the two color variants you can get currently. And as you guys can see, I'm currently using this one because the RGB is lit up. Now the white's a really good color, but let's be honest, as gamers, we like to get these things a little bit dirty. But as you guys can see with the RGB, this thing is at about 30% RGB brightness right now, which is pretty good because it still illuminates relatively well. I have big hands and I need a big mouse, and I really love the way this one feels. If you guys are claw grip, if you guys are palm grip, no matter what grip you guys have, this mouse is really good for you. If you prefer a smaller mouse like the Razer Orochi, I highly recommend staying away from this, although I did come from the Orochi and I love the transition over. All right, gamers, so if you've been on mouse and keyboard long enough, you know you need some side buttons on your mouse, whether it's an MMO, whether it's a MOBA, whether it's an FPS or a BR, you know you're gonna want something sitting above your thumb so you can have quick access to that ability. Honestly, these buttons are great. They're low profile, they don't get in the way. The throw on them is really nice. I never accidentally hit them. I never feel like I'm hitting it, but I'm actually not hitting it. It is just a perfect layout. Great response, huge 10 out of 10 as far as that's concerned. As far as the buttons, very smooth, very responsive, no complaints there. The scroll wheel feels really nice. It's got some rubber coating on it, which really helps with the feel. I didn't know if I'd be a fan of the honeycomb palm rest, but honestly, I haven't noticed a difference, and I think that helps a lot with the weight as well. So I highly recommend it for you guys. If you guys are curious in the skates that I'm currently using, I will go ahead and pin a comment in the comment section. That way you guys can go out there and purchase them as well. As far as the USB-C charger, I really like the unique feel of it. It's got like a little clip attachment where it clips in, and also your wireless attachment goes to as well. Very easy, very seamless. I keep that close to my mouse anyway, so whenever I need to charge it, I just unplug the wireless attachment and plug in the mouse directly into the cable. Something I need to add to the video, guys, the battery life. This is a very important thing for you guys to pay attention to, because this is the most detrimental part of the mouse and one of the reasons why I'm leaving the Glorious Model O behind. The battery charging on this thing is amazing. It's quick, USB-C. It does a really good job and charges really fast. However, the battery life itself, if you game for 6-8 hours and you're idle for the rest of the day, say a 24-hour span, the mouse will be dead or damn near close to dead for your next gaming session. So if you do not remember to plug in your mouse every night, you'll be forced to play with it wired. And we all know that gaming with wired mice is a pretty big pain. Honestly, it's a big letdown. This is the only mouse I've ever owned that has just died on me mid-gaming. For example, I did a 12-hour session the other day on Twitch, and literally about 9 hours in, after it was completely charged, the mouse died on me. And I was just really irritated. Thankfully, I've got about 30 mice here I could choose from. But again, dude, I really love the Glorious Model O. It's just a perfect feeling mouse, which is one of the reasons why it was so hard for me to leave. But the battery life on this thing is super bad, and I mean really bad. I'm not one to really trash Glorious because I love Glorious, but man, I don't know what kind of battery they have in here. It's got to be some Duracell from 1980s. This thing is just as much as I love this mouse and the fact that I'm still currently using it, there are a lot of cons to this mouse which I'm not really happy with, and I've been debating on switching mice for a few weeks now, honestly probably for about a month. But the main reason I haven't is, again, I just love the way it feels in my hand. It's hard for me to get away from, and maybe with firmware updates we'll be getting some updates to fix the issues. But I'll go ahead and start with issue number one, the skates that come with the mouse. These skates I currently have on the mouse right now are aftermarket, great skates. The mouse just honestly operated completely different once I put these skates on. But when you first pull it out the box, the skates are very, very scratchy. It's really hard to get a comfortable feel. It always feels like you're fighting the mouse pad, whether you're on a smooth mouse pad or a fabric mouse pad, whichever one you have. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Issue number two, the software. Software is real just outdated. You can currently have a minimum of 4 DPI settings on your mouse, and you do change the DPI by hitting this button here. The biggest issue with that is I don't want 4, I want 2, maybe even 1. There's just too many times where I need to change my DPI for something. I gotta scroll through it and just get to it. And it seems like first world problems, and I get that, but it's definitely an issue that for a mouse at this price point, I would like to be fixed. Secondly, bringing me to the DPI settings and having to scroll through it. Anytime you start your computer, restart your computer, plug in your mouse to charge it, whatever the case is, your software instantly resets the DPI to the first one, which for me is 400. And then you got to cycle from 400 to whatever 4 DPI settings you have. And again, it's just a big pain in the butt. Secondly, speaking of software, I owned this mouse for probably 2 months before the software was able to even update itself. I found that the cable the mouse came with, for some reason, there's a connection issue, and it just kept saying can't detect mouse, can't detect mouse. Even though I could change my DPI, the lighting, it wouldn't let me update my firmware. I had to get a third-party USB-C, which isn't a big deal. Most of us have many laying around, plug it in, and then finally I was able to update the software, and it took me embarrassingly a month to figure that one out. Issue number 3, and it's a major issue that I'm still struggling with, and I had to actually sit there and think, am I the one doing this? Am I causing the issue, or is it the mouse itself? And after paying deep attention to it, I figured out it's the mouse itself. For some reason, if you're moving your mouse too fast, like if you flick on an enemy, whatever the case is, if you're hitting the button too hard, too fast, something inside the mouse makes the mouse think that you're moving the scroll wheel. So for instance, I'm a battle royale player. I play Warzone. Mid-fight, I'll be shooting, I'll shoot a sniper shot, I'll flick, and all of a sudden my weapon will change on me. That's drastic, especially if you're into Counter-Strike, Valorant, even MOBAs. Your scroll wheel messing up mid-fight could be a huge issue, and it's probably happened a few hundred times to me in the course of the last few months. And again, that's a major problem. I'm hoping the firmware here eventually will fix that, but it could be a hardware issue. I'm not too sure. Overall, the mouse is really light. I used to be a heavy mouse user, and I'll show you guys the mouse that I actually used for a while. This is the Logitech G502 I literally used for about 4 years. It took me to switch into the Razer Orochi to realize I like light mice way better. It's easier movement, they glide across the desk. And overall, for the size of this mouse, this is a huge game changer. As you guys can see, I have mice everywhere. Here's the Razer Orochi size comparison to this mouse. It is definitely a drastic change, and honestly, because of the battery that's inside of it, and I've only got one inside the Orochi because there's no charger point on it, but that's a review video for another day. This mouse is 100 times lighter than this one. This mouse is about 69 grams, which is just super light. Final thoughts on this mouse, I gotta give it a 7.5. Even though I currently use it, even though it's my current favorite mouse to use, there are just a lot of issues with it that I don't believe should be there. Now, I love Glorious as a company, they do a great job on all their products, and I'm really hoping eventually, again, maybe the firmware updates will stop all the problems I talked about. But again, the biggest issue being the scroll wheel. That could be a turn off for a lot of you guys. And again, this mouse comes in at about an $80 price point at the time of this recording. So if you go out and buy the Glorious Model O, let me know in the comment section below after a few weeks how you guys are finding it, if you're having the same issues, and also if you're watching the video and you decided I'm not going with this, what mouse are you currently looking at, so I can do a review on that mouse as well. But guys, again, I hope you have a good one. Good luck out there in finding the products you need. And again, this will eventually be your one-stop shop place to find a good review on all the gaming products out there. My final review on this mouse, guys, I'm gonna give this a solid 4 out of 10. Now, I was gonna give it a 7 out of 10 initially, but after experiencing the battery life issues and the software issues, I'm not even gonna show the software in this video because it's so bad. Good luck connecting to it. But because of all the issues I've listed, and you know the cons portion of this video is a lot bigger than the pros, I'm just gonna have to give this a solid 4 out of 10. There's just no way about that. Glorious, I apologize, but hopefully the next mouse will be a lot better off.